All right, all right. Welcome to 4SISTERS Live Talk. I am in studio with my studio husband. How you doing, Roland?
I'm marvelous.
Oh, well, great. So I guess it'd be me and you opening up the show today, and I'm just so happy to be here. So how was your holiday weekend?
My holiday weekend was holiday-ish.
Okay, what is holiday-ish? You learn something new every day. What is holiday-ish, Roland?
That meant I did something that I don't do during normal days.
Okay.
I slept a little bit later, moved a little bit slower, and watched a little bit of TV.
All right. And you know what? And that's what I call a good holiday, when you're moving at your own pace.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. That's a good thing. That's always a good thing. And yes, you were able to watch a little TV because you text me something over the holiday.
Sure.
Yes. You know, I am so excited about this week. You know what I'm saying? I am just so excited about what's getting ready to happen. You know, for me, you know, it's September. This happy September, everyone. This is our first show of September. Last Saturday, we took a time off for the holiday weekend. But when Labor Day comes, you're like, God, the summer is over. But then in the same breath, Roland, I'm like, yeah, but that means football season is about to start. So you want to tell everybody what you text me, and thanks to you, I had the pleasure of meeting this person that you get ready to talk about.
Yes, what an amazing thing. Let's give hands for the original HU Howard University. And Howard University football made history last weekend, when they beat the UNLV Running Rebels in Las Vegas.
Yes.
45-point underdogs, and it went down in history as probably the greatest upset in the history of that level of football.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that something?
Yes.
So all week long, Coach Mike London, who we had the pleasure of having on our live show, as you know, in early May. In other words, we were ahead of the curve. We already knew greatness was on its way.
Yes, and, exactly.
And he's been on a whirlwind tour all week. ESPN, USA Today, Roland Martin show, and he had a chance to talk to none other than Karen McConnell-Jones.
Hey. Oh, it went well. Actually, you know, I just knew he was probably getting tons of phone calls. So basically, I just we talked through text. I sent him a text message, and I just wanted to let him know that we were so proud of him, you know. And I just felt honored, actually, Roland, that I had met him back in May, because, you know, when you sent me that about how we're making history, and that's the first time I was like, Roland, that's your friend. What's his name again? I'm going to send him a text. I'm going to have to send him a text. So, you know, I was really, really honored to have met him. And he's such a humbling guy. Yeah. And, we had, me and him had a love affair right then and there because of what?
He's a former Dallas Cowboy.
Woohoo! In the house! So, I think the last part of the text he enjoyed the most when I said now that it's football season, that me and him have to get together and watch a couple of games with you for we can torture you, Redskin fan.
Y'all gonna gang up on me, aren't you?
Yeah, pretty much. That was the discussion.
I know it's going to happen.
Yes.
But that was great. Maryland University, in terms of local sports, I know you don't follow college as much, but Maryland University had a big win over University of Texas, which was also a real big deal last weekend in terms of the local scene. So we had a good week in football last week, especially on the college level. But the pros, they're on now, and the Kansas City Chiefs knocked off. Man, I miss Rob. I need Rob right now.
I know.
Oh, man, where's that voice of reason?
Yeah, Rob, well, it. Here it is. Yes.
Karen, I just think that Kansas City applied themselves a little more in that first game than the Patriots, but understand that the Patriots are going to get better week to week.
Yes, that you sound just like Rob. We're going to have to tell Rob.
Oh, man, I miss Rob.
He was missed in the studio today. Well, actually, him and his family is on their way to New Jersey to pick up the brand new puppy So I think the kids, yes, they finally wore him down, and they would be getting a puppy this weekend.
Oh, if the missus and the kids want a puppy, guess what you're gonna do?
Get a puppy.
If you want a place to live, you gonna get a puppy.
If he want to be able to live and continue talking about sports, he better get the puppy.
If he wants to be able to watch a game, he better get a puppy. So good. I'm glad they're on the road. It looks like a beautiful day to travel.
Yes,
and of course that's up north. Down south's a little bit different. Tell me about North Carolina. The folks down there, how are they feeling right now? They're a little bit nervous.
Yeah, you know, we just got to keep everybody lifted up in prayer. I definitely need to constantly just pray for my family because I'm from the South and Roland, I tell you, that's why I really do feel that we need to reach out and make sure that we tell our loved ones how much we love them because, we now just move in a society today that everybody use this word, I'm so busy. And, that has been my pet peeve for the new year. I got tired of hearing my own self say, I'm so busy. Who's not busy?
You mentioned that before.
Yes, you remember I mentioned that on the show. So I try to use other words because it's just starting to sound so, cliche. Everybody is busy. Who's not busy? But we have to take the time to do what we want to do and what we need to do. So just telling our loved ones how much we care, being in the grind for them, that's what we have to do, in our 4 days that we have. So I like to say, I had a 4 day, but it was good. Instead of saying, I'm busy, I say I had a 4 day and it's good.
That's a real good point. My daughter, we did get her out of Miami.
Mm-hmm.
So she's here now. And she'll be here for a couple of days, and I'm worried. I'm worried that I'm not even going to get a chance to see her. For being busy. Just her. Just trying to fit this in around that. And one thing about the media business is it's 24 hours, 7 days a week. It doesn't sleep even when you sleep. So I'm trying to figure out if I can get a chance to see her before she goes back to grad school down there. But nonetheless, let's keep everyone lifted up in prayer, as you mentioned earlier. And, of course, Texas, they're still, and parts of Louisiana, still dealing with the after effects and then the islands. Yeah. But I heard something yesterday that blew my mind. Actually, this morning, late last night.
What, about Jerry Jones?
No, Jerry Jones always blowing my mind.
Because, he promised to donate all the proceeds of the first game to the hurricane, the tornado that came down there and tore up everything. So
awesome.
Yeah. That's mighty big of him.
I'm just saying, everybody has redeeming qualities. So those are his. But the part of Mexico was hit simultaneously by a hurricane and an earthquake.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine? I mean, what do you do in that situation? They had an 8.1 earthquake and Hurricane Katia, whatever the name is, burned down on the same area. That just had to be nightmare beyond
horrific. I'm telling you,
beyond reason. So as I say, count my blessings and reach out and help others as much as we can. But how was your week overall, Ms. Karen?
It was good. One thing, going back to that though, Roland, I was like, where do we get the names from? How do we name these? Who determined the name, what the name's going to be for the hurricane?
Pook and them. Pook and them sit in the room, right? And they make a decision. And what they do is, before the hurricane season starts, they say these are the Pacific storms and these are the Atlantic storms. And it starts with A.
Okay.
And goes all the way, I guess, to Z.
Okay.
So when you start getting into, I think if you notice Irma, and then after Irma is Katia, and then after Katia is Jose.
Okay.
So now the next one will be an L.
Okay.
And the one after that is an M. It used to be all female names. Until I think late 70s, they started doing males too. And they said it was all females because when they first started naming hurricanes, they said women were so unpredictable that they were like hurricanes. This is what they said, and I'm not making this up. You can go back and as they say on the Piece of the Morning Show, you can research that. Right?
Yes.
And then when the women's movement started in the late 70s, the fellas had to rethink their position, and they started naming hurricanes men as well.
Well, I guess that's the saying that goes, you don't mess with Mother Nature.
You don't mess with Mother Nature, and Father Time is undefeated. Both of them will win.
I love it. I love it. I love it. This is just great. Well, we
What do you have planned on your show today?
Well, I'm going to say, we have to talk about the topics. What we got coming up today is going to be great. But September, just got to mention a couple of awareness. This is our first show of the month. September is Childhood Obesity Month. And, Roland, that is something that is near and dear to my heart. Okay. So, we got to take it seriously.
You was a fat baby?
Oh, well, I tell you.
Karen, was you a fat baby? Let me see the baby picture.
Oh, man. Let me tell you about that, Roland. I had, you knew early on I was going to be tall. I had this short body and very long arms. Okay.
Arms are dragging on the ground.
Yeah, pretty much, So I was like, okay, I'm kind of glad I grew into my arms. But in my family, our trademark, we got high cheekbones.
Gotcha.
Oh, and you know what happened when you were a kid? Everybody want to, yes,
suck on your face.
Your cheeks. Oh, that used to drive me crazy.
Aunt Bunny got a mustache. She keeps pinching my cheeks.
Oh my God, I used to. Oh man, I was like,
girl, before the show is over, I'm coming to get you.
Oh, you gonna pinch them cheeks?
I'm gonna pinch them cheeks.
Oh Lordy,
come on, me and John take one side, I take the other. We just gonna pinch them cheeks. So,
please save me. Yes. So, that's, childhood obesity is a big thing. And I'm just starting to say I'm glad to see the school system now are doing better with the lunches and want everyone to make healthier choices because statistics say that 1 out of every 5 child suffer from childhood diabetes. Yes, which is a big thing. So we have to just make sure we start making healthy choices at a early age because statistics showing that even in our young adult age we are getting hypertension, diabetes, heart troubles very, very, very early on now. We usually didn't have to too much worry about that until you get in your 60s or 70s, and it's hitting us as young as 30s and 40s now.
And even with the children and, of course, with the adults, the biggest difference that I've noticed over the years is that we work now and we sit. Whereas when we were in the Industrial Revolution, and obviously when we were agrarian society, we were outside and we were moving all the time.
Yes, moving a lot.
And if you ate some chitlins, and you went outside and you worked in the yard or in the cotton fields for like 6 hours.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna say 2.5 seconds. You wore that thing off.
You sweating the pork juice out of you, right? But now we eat 3 meals a day and it's not going anywhere. And I'm a perfect example of where it went. But I was giggling a little earlier. We were talking about childhood obesity because what they call a BMI scale, right? And the BMI,
Lord.
right?
I know
where I'm going, right? So it starts out real light, like white, right? Then it goes to like yellow, and then it goes like orange, and then it goes, come on now, can I get a witness? And then it goes like blue and purple. And then at the end of the purple, there's nothing left, so there's the wall. So the doctor used to tell me, when I was 7, he was like, look here, this is purple. This means you're in danger. He said at the end of purple, there's the wall. And wall means that you're not even alive. He's like, dude, how can you be like 9 years old and 200 pounds? And I'm like, you can't even pinch me. I was so far, I've always been so far off the chart that I've been considered morbidly obese since the day I came out my mama. He looked and said, this baby here.
I tell you, especially if we go by that chart, I've been obese all my life then, so What are you
Stocking heels, you what, 5?
Yeah, I'm 5'10". Yeah, so 5'10", 190.
The BMI says you're supposed to be like 118.
Yes, and that is ridiculous. Can you even see me at 118? Or 125? I was like, I could never get down to that weight.
I can see your ribs at 190.
I'm telling you, look, I was like, shoot, I was like, even when I said I came out my mom's womb probably being a size 9, 10. You know what I'm saying?
So totally different. And you don't even eat soul food much anymore.
Yes,
you know?
yes. So it's just.
I mean, I watch it die.
Yes,
you know?
yes. I'm telling you. So, I just like.
He just big boned it.
Yeah, whatever that means, right? I used to say all the time, well, I'm just big boned in front of my family, So
I didn't think that was true.
What, being big boned?
Yeah, I didn't think it was true. Did you have any perception of that?
No, I used to. Well, you just hear people say it, and I guess you just start saying it too.
A doctor recently told me there is a such thing as bone mass density. I think that's the way he described it.
Okay.
And he said that especially those who did things like weight training or was involved in athletics,
right,
that the stress that's on the bones can make the bones more dense.
Okay.
And as a result of that, and of course genetics, and as a result of that, you actually have people whose bones are bigger than the contemporary at the same height, and the same age. And that made me feel good. So I was like, man, So I went home and told my mom, and she's like, boy, that ain't bones. That's that fried chicken you eat. That ain't your daggone bones. But you saw my mom. She's 76.
Oh, she looks good. 76?
76.
Well, see, you never told me her age, because this is like my fourth or fifth time meeting your mom.
Yeah.
And she is 76 years old.
Quite an inspiration. She walks 3 to 5 miles a day.
Oh, okay.
And
we getting out there with her, right, Roland?
No, and that's a 200-pound woman. When she got down to 199, we were taking her to the doctor because we thought she was ill. We thought she was sick. Face had drawn in,
right.
Rib bone, pelvic bone was showing,
right.
And she was like, "Something's wrong." And we took her to the doctor. She was 199. He was like, how could your bones be coming out of your skin at 199? and literally nothing was wrong with her. And he was like, he said something that you rarely hear. Miss, you need to put on a little weight, to protect your bones in case you fall. So the future's bright for us, Karen, because, they're going to change the BMI.
Yeah.
And it's going to reflect us a little bit better.
All right.
So anyway, you were talking earlier about your week, your holiday. You got some. Are you making announcements today about what you are doing today?
Well, no, pretty much. We just in the second half, we're trying to wait on Peggy, our president. She should be arriving shortly. Of course, she always out there. Charlie, as we call her. Charlie out there doing some good things in the community. So she'll be on the way. So we're going to go to commercial break, and when we come back, we have Angela Alsabrook, our state attorney, in the house. And we have Arlene Arnolds all the way from Charles County. So they just did a big project last month for Senior Citizen Month, and they called it 2 County, 1 Vision. So we have her here in the studio and just talking about the great partnerships that she's making here in Prince George's County. And, Roland, hey, again, we got to just stay focused. It's Childhood Obesity Month. It's Men Prostate Cancer Month. So, if nothing else, this is the month. Tell your male friends, your male family to get their prostate checked. We must do that. So this is Prostate Cancer Month, and we want to just make sure we bring that. Because Brother Bay, you remember Brother Bay?
He was here?
Yes, and then he was a radio personnel.
Okay. Gotcha.
And Brother Bay, everybody know who he was. He's very much was fit, athletic, and very fit.
You said
was. And he did this challenge. He was on HUR, did this challenge that in the month, this was the month that he wanted to take a group of men and they all go and get their prostate checked. And all the men was clear, and he found out that he had it. That he had prostate cancer. And I never forget, Willie Jolly did a big charity event up at Howard University. And Brother Bay was there, and he said, he wouldn't have, it was just devastating. He wouldn't have never thought it was him, because he work out, he eat well, he was so healthy. Had just had a physical, and sure enough just went as a challenge. and found out. So, so because sometimes, the warning signs, we probably don't pay attention. And if you are fit and healthy, sometimes the warning sign is not apparent until it's like in the final stage or something like that. And that's what happened. He said, it just really wasn't no warning signs for him. He wasn't sick or anything. He just happened to be doing a challenge, taking a group of men to go get a physical, and found out he was sick. So, I really encourage that we must stay on top of our health and stay on top of our fitness, and, and just pray for the ones we know that are going through. Because I know a couple of people, that's going through. I call one my sunshine. You hear me mention Sunshine. So when you hear that name, that's a special shout out to my Sunshine. I love you so very much. I try to definitely go once a month and spend time with my Sunshine. Matter of fact, I was at the store buying a gift over the weekend, and I saw this thing. This little plaque, it said, "You are my sunshine." So I brought it for my Sunshine. So when I go and see my Sunshine this month, I got her a little token gift. Yeah. So Roland, yes, we got a great show today. We got these awesome people in the building. So we're going to go to our first commercial break before we can come back and get it started.
Let's get it started.
All right,
Sit tight. We'll be back. Elimedia.net.
All right, here on 4SISTERS Live Talk.
4SISTERS Live Talk.
To be in Detroit, Michigan, 'cause I really love the way you love me, girl. For everybody else, y'all help me sing a song. Sing, yeah. With me, baby, you blow my mind, baby. With me, baby.
All right, welcome back. We are here at Sister for Live Saturday Talk, rolling what we got going on here. You know, I am so excited. I called him my studio husband, Angela. Okay. So you got a chance to meet my studio husband because, look, he always stick his chest out when I say that. Because, yes. Without my studio husband, would none of this be possible. So I'm so excited. You know, I always get excited when I have certain guests in the house. And, you know, Angela Ossobrook is in the house. I'm like, oh, yeah.
We have fun. We always have a good time.
Yes, here. We do. So I just want to formally say Angela Ossobrook is in the house. This is our state attorney for Prince George's County, Maryland. And we heard that you made a big announcement last month. So, hey, I'm just honored to have you in the building. Let's just jump right into it. So what was that big announcement?
Oh, yeah, there was a super big announcement. It is that I am running for county executive. I am asking the people of Prince George's, going back in front of them again and asking for another opportunity, this time to serve as their county executive. And it is exciting for so many reasons. The least of which is not that it's that I've lived here my whole life. So if you can imagine growing up in a place as a child and then being able to, as an adult, go back and ask for a chance to lead it. It is pretty exciting.
Yes. And I wanted to say, I was waiting for you to come here to say this, that I bragged on how cute your announcement was. You had the most unique, special way of doing it. When I heard that you was going to do it at your parents' house, I was like, oh,
it was awesome. You know what? It was representative of who I am.
Yes.
You know, I care so much, first of all, about family. Family is so important to me, my own belief. And it's not just my family. I just believe in family. And so starting at my childhood home was important. But it was also important for me to continue to do things that are genuine.
Yes.
You know, not to, prop up someplace, decorate some hall that wasn't me. But if I could just go home where it all started, where every opportunity for me started, and where I believe, honestly, the work that we have to do in this community and even as leaders is to support other families, to make sure that from every home we have the opportunity to grow young people who can continue to contribute here and across the world. I think that is what we must do. But all of that came from my home. Those two people who lived in that house taught me everything.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely everything, as well as my neighbors. You know what? A lot of the people in that neighborhood remember me as a child. So many of my neighbors had a chance to walk up the street and to, and support me. And there are people who have known me since I was 12. We moved in that house when I was 12. And so, it was very special.
Oh, wow. I thought it was just so unique and just great. I was like, wow, what a special way to make an announcement. It's so real. It's so heartfelt, and that's one thing that we keep hearing on this trail here about transparency. So how important is that to you, is to be real and be transparent with the people?
Oh, it is. Transparency, again, is is very important to me. And it's who I've been in elective office these 7 years. People have come to know me. And part of why they know me is because I show up for them. And why, I think it's really important to be transparent and to be accessible, because you can't represent people you don't understand. And so I think part of the strength that I have had, and a part of the real benefit I've had, first of being a native Prince Georgian, but also being about people and of the people, is that I truly understand the people of Prince George's County.
And and on that point, you are so right, because I'm the people and I'm in the community, and I hear us say all the time that, oh yeah, I met that person, they came down, we only see them around election time. They never come in the community. So I can say, we see you in the community. You're there by yourself most of the time, not having a big entourage. And I do believe that when you're saying that you want to meet the people where they are, you can't do it from up here. No. You have to go where the people are. And I would say, I know that's important to you. And why is that?
Well, you know what, as you were saying that, I was thinking, why it's important? Because it is a give and take sort of situation. Like, part of it is I go out there, but I learn from being with people. And so when I say you can't even represent people you don't understand, the only way to understand them is to talk to them, to hear from them. And I promise you, every time I go out, and I'm not exaggerating, I've been out several times this week to community meetings, the questions, the comments, they help me. They help me to form the right thoughts about what's important. Okay, this is what we need to do. This is based on what I'm actually hearing from people's real experiences. So being out there is important just to show that I care. I want people to know and to feel that they have a person who represents them, who truly does care about them. But also it's helpful to me to make sure that I am intelligent about the issues. And the only way to do that is to get out. You can assume you know something about what people care about, but you know nothing unless you actually go and talk to people. And that's been my experience, is that every single time I have a chance to go out, I have learned. So Prince Georgians have helped me also to do a good job.
Okay, so then let's talk about that. What have you learned so far on your trail to going to county? Is that one of the things that you must do, or that is the big concern to the people?
Education is on the hearts and minds of everybody.
Yes.
I don't think I have had a conversation, and even with people who don't have children in the school system, everybody recognizes the fact that we have to do more in our school system. Anybody who says it's good enough the way it is not honest. Because the truth is, parents you talk to have a real sense of discomfort and distrust.
Yes.
They truly do not. They don't trust this school system. They don't have confidence in it. People who want to move here say, well, I'm not so sure that I should, because I'm not sure that I can entrust my children to this school system. So this is what I'm hearing from everyone, is we are so sick of really not having confidence in the school system, not knowing whether if I entrust my child, will they learn what they need to learn? Will there be opportunities beyond this school system? So will they be safe? You know, the safety and security is an issue that I think we have to be real clear about. I started this week at Accokeek Academy and had a conversation there that really resonated with me when I had a chance to speak to the principal and say, tell me what your chief challenges are. It surprised me a bit to say that she was most concerned about security and that it worried her every day that she would, somehow with 1,500 students in her care, she was saying, at any given moment, you have to always keep your eyes open because anything can happen. And, and these kids, I'm responsible for them. So really the sense with all the sexual assault that's happening, and sexual abuse in schools and, so much other things that these kids are exposed to, the sense that security has to be chief among, we can't, in other words, before you educate them, you have to convince their parents that you will keep them safe and then convince them as well that you can educate them. So education is really high on the list of things that people are concerned about. Pre-K education. I talked to a parent who said she used to live in the district, and so her other children had an opportunity to be educated at 3 and 4. And in Prince George's, unless you make barely anything, you have the salary requirement is so low that most people won't meet it in order to have their kids qualified to have pre-K education. Is terrible. It puts us at a real disadvantage. And then the whole pipeline to a job. Education is important, but it's also important to create an opportunity for our kids to have real jobs with high wages. And some of these kids don't want to go to college, and that's fine. That we got to also create a pipeline for success for children who are not interested in college. What about vocational education? Making sure that we talk about ways to get them prepared to compete in places like Comcast that says, we have a training program. Can they work at Comcast or WSSC? There are so many areas where vocational education can guarantee a great wage for a person who isn't interested in going on to college.
Yes, and you bring up a strong point, because when 60% of our budget is put into education, and we're still ranked at the lowest between Baltimore and us, we keep going back and forth. So who's going to fight for that last position there? And that's very concerning to us. That 60%, it's not the money.
Exactly.
It's not money.
It's not money.
It seems to be our problem. So what is one thing, and also, I guess I'm twofold here, what is one thing we can do different, or we'll see differently from you when you become county exec in that position? And also the other thing, is it the fact, will you keep it the same now that the county exec, Rashawn Baker, a few years ago took over the school system and kept it under his administration now? Would you do that, and how would you make it different from what it is now?
So I'll answer the two questions. One is, what are some of the things we would do differently? I think we have to really address the issue regarding teachers' pay. I also hear from, administrators that it's difficult to retain teachers because we lose them to neighboring jurisdictions because of the pay differential. So this is something I would absolutely commit to, is we have to do a salary survey, see how much our teachers on average are earning, and to survey the area, the region, to discover what the right salary, what a competitive salary is. And we have to really commit to making the resources available to pay teachers competitive salaries so that we can retain the best talent. Prince George's County has a very robust training program. They do a lot of professional development, and guess what? After we develop our teachers and train them, they go to other jurisdictions. So we have to really plug that hole, because I think teachers are critically important to the success of our students, and we can't afford to lose them. So that's one of the things that we would definitely do differently. The other thing that we have to do is to encourage investment outside of our school system. In other words, we have to get nonprofit organizations, we need to get businesses, the churches, all of these other areas to invest in the concept of a neighborhood school. And the neighborhood school would mean that we would look outside to increase investment. But one of the other things they do with the neighborhood school is have a comprehensive approach to teaching, which means social workers. Because I don't believe that you can only teach to a child who's in school. You have to really satisfy the needs of that child inside and outside of school to have a student who's even ready to be taught. So a hungry student, a student who has some other issue at home that hasn't been addressed, a family issue, a student who is sleep deprived. These are kids who cannot learn. So we would have a more focused approach on the whole child, not just what we do with them academically, but we really have to increase the presence of social workers throughout the system. We have them in some of our schools, but we don't have, I believe, enough. And one other thing that I would love to see us do is to increase the numbers of K through 8 schools. So I believe that this is also a model that has been very successful, because our 7th and 8th graders are generally much better off when they're in the school with teachers they have known, primary school teachers. It keeps them younger longer. So a 7th grader who is dealing with pre-adolescence and is acting out and dealing with whatever they deal with at 12 and 13 is more inclined when you see your 2nd grade teacher. There is the nurturing, I think, that needs to continue to happen. So we find that cutting off kids in 5th and 6th grade and sending them into a middle school environment is sometimes disruptive to their emotional development. So the schools that go K through 8, we need more of those schools.
You know what? You may have a strong point there, because I went to the school system in Washington, D.C., and I went to Winston elementary school, and it went from kindergarten all the way up to the 8th grade. So, and you have a strong point there, and I just had a flashback of that, and I was like, wow, I think the development is different, because like you said, you at that tender age where your hormones is just going crazy, you're just unfamiliar with yourself and what's going on, but having some kind of familiarity there will help them stay grounded and feel safe. You know that it's okay. That you're going through this change, and it's going to be okay, because that is important. It's just not the education, of course, our curriculum, but we have to look at the other things. The home environment. Keeping the child safe, like you said, and just being able to let them know you're more than just, there for the education level, but you're there because you care.
We care about the whole person. Character development is another area that I'm a big proponent of. I wanted to add something else when you say, what else will we do?
Okay.
And this answers, I think, your second question.
Yes.
Transparency and accountability. We have to insist on it. It has to be the language of the day, is that our school system is both transparent and people are held accountable. I think that is extremely important.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is information that we share. We have to be very transparent about information. For example, if you go on a website and try to learn the school's budget, each school has a different budget, and how that budget is spent, you can't learn that. And so, the information about the certifications and teacher education, that's information parents ought to have access to. None of that is accessible here.
Wow.
You can go to Virginia and go on the website, and you'll find all that information about each school. So we have to do a better job of being transparent, providing information, and then holding people accountable. I think we really have to, we're seeing some of that now, but this whole mess with the teachers and all of the sexual assaults and all of that, if we're honest about it, we have got to hold people more accountable, meaning our screening has to be heightened. The people we accept into our school system, we ought to know on any given day who has access to children in our schools. Period.
Yes. And that's what I was going to ask next about the safety, because we just heard another incident of sexual harassment in the school system. So I was just like, wow, and I think when you were saying that one of the teachers you was talking to was saying the safety, and I think a part of that safety, that's a big part of it now, is the sexual harassment, because when a child go to school, they look at our parents let us know that we supposed to be able to trust our teachers.
Exactly.
So you're putting trust in these teachers, or or the bus drivers, or anybody in the school system, and then now kind of find out the coaches, the teachers are having these sexual assaults against the kids. I mean,
yeah, we don't have any room for error. And if I'm honest about it, and I know I'll make people angry when I say it, we can do better.
Yes.
You know what? There are some of these people, we have no room for error. And in the case of a couple of the folks that we have seen so far, there were red flags. We should have absolutely known that we allowed somebody to have access to our children who had no business doing so. If a parent comes and says, hey, listen, I'm concerned about the interaction that Mr. or Miss so-and-so is having with my child, that's something we better take very seriously. And so, there are red flags that we should never ignore. But we have to be that has to be our first priority, is making sure that we screen in every way possible the people who have access to our children. Right now, in this age where you can have access to people's records, you can have access to their personnel records and their criminal records, and there's no reason that anybody should slip through the cracks and wind up in a classroom with access to children. So I think we must do a much better job. And you know what? And the other thing is, we don't have any reason to protect adults. You make a mistake with one of these kids, you're gone. I mean, it's just the way it has to be.
Yeah, I believe you on that. So, last question on the education part. Let's talk about, I really do believe, like I said, the money is there. So, it's not the fact that the money, how do we start this? I think it should come even from high up. What do you think about our superintendent? You're sitting up here making almost $500,000 a year, but we got the worst school system ever. So what is a change? How are we going to start making a change on the high up? Because our superintendent needs to be held more accountable, because if our school system is constantly year after year raking low, and we're paying you this kind of money, and we putting 60% of the budget into the school education, I just really think it's a problem there.
Yeah, I think the problem is this. We have to have somebody leading the school system that people have confidence in, period. And the people that we have to please first are these parents. And the truth is, if you ask me how I would be different, I'm not wed to anybody, committed to anybody, except we make decisions that are good for children. So I am prepared to make whatever changes are necessary to make sure that we re-earn the trust of parents, and that we're able to move the school system forward. So I agree that there is a lot of accountability that rests always with the school superintendent. And I think that person has to, again, be a person who parents have confidence in.
Yes.
And who the system has confidence in. Now, I do want to say this about both the superintendent and about the Board of Education. The work of moving our school system forward is hard work. And it is not the answer is not solely in the superintendent or the board. And the reason I say that is because over the last 20 years, this is what I'm frustrated about. I've been watching and active in this school system for 20 years. I started in 97. I have volunteered in some school every year for 20 years. When I came to work in this system, to work in the county rather, we had an all-appointed school board. We've then had an all-elected school board, and now we have a hybrid, and guess what? Nothing's changed. We have likewise had, I think, at least 5 superintendents in about the last 10 or 12 years, and nothing has changed. So to me, it's too convenient just to say, oh, maybe if we change the superintendent, or if we just shuffle the board around and the who moved my cheese, who has the power, who doesn't. If I'm honest about it, it's going to take something a little more comprehensive than that for us to fix this school system. And I think the truth is we go to the classroom. I think we have to make those changes, the changes that are necessary to make sure that the governance is always right. And there's some changes I would agree with for sure. That the governance, first of all, I think the board of education ought to be able to select its own chair. I do agree with that. So there are some changes that have to be made there. But I just think that, part of the problem is that we have so politicized education in this county. We haven't been able to get anything done. It's a political football. People use it. They hope it will help them get elected. And guess what? Nobody does anything for these kids. So the conversations that we need to be in is how can we do more for children, their parents, and their teachers. Those are the conversations that I think are most critical to our success. Because again, it hasn't mattered who the superintendent has been, in my opinion. Because the schools, have they advanced? In the last 10 or 15 years, we've been at the same position and in the same conversation.
Yes.
For the whole time I have been here, I'm so frustrated with it. If there something better change? Anybody looking at this who says it's good enough or we're changing, well, whatever changes that we've seen are not fast enough. They're not aggressive enough because in my estimation, we haven't seen the progress that we need to see yet. So there are some very critical changes that will be made and should be made. But again, I don't want us to take our eye off the ball and get caught in this whole political mess where the people are promoting themselves at the expense of our children and want you to think it's about who's it's just moving the seats around on the Board of Education. Or even the superintendent is critically important. Now, I do believe that. But again, we've changed it, as my grandmother would say, umpteen times now, and guess what? It hasn't made a difference.
It's still not working.
Yeah, and that's frustrating.
Good point. Well, I know that this is going to be a great hour. Studio husband over there, you got to have something to take us to commercial break. But before we go there, I'm just going to ask you, because I know one of my things that I'm most proud about, you being state attorney. What is one of the most things that right now, if you had to pick one, that you are so proud about in your 7 years that you've been state attorney?
Oh man, you say I gotta just pick one?
Okay, well, you can tell us give us a summary of 7 years.
Okay, I'll explain it this way. You tell me whether you agree. When I started in office 7 years ago, every conversation we had about Prince George's started with crime or corruption. The conversations we are now having about Prince George's start with education. The fact that we have worked so effectively, not in eradicating crime, but at least convincing people that you have a public safety team in place that works and can lead is an accomplishment. I would like to say I have been a part of the team that now people know when they see me coming, I am not kidding. And they don't have to look for me, pull out the flashlight to find me. I have been present. And I have been advocating for them, fighting for them, and they know they have a person fighting for them. I'm going to do the same thing as county executive. They're not going to pull out the flashlight to look for me. And when they see me handling the people's business, they're going to know I'm serious about it. So that has made me proud. And we have increased the resources of that office. I have fought hard. We've increased the budget of the state's attorney's office by 40%.
Wow.
Since I have been there, from $14 million to $20 million.
Wow.
I worked hard, and my team worked hard to make sure we are paying competitive salaries. So I'm not just talking pie in the sky when I say we're going to pay teachers competitive salaries. We had to do the same thing for these prosecutors who were paid far less than they deserved. Who were paid less than everybody in the region with an increased workload. So we have, over the years, I have partnered with everybody I needed to make sure we increased salaries and took care of the people in that office, and we have been effective because we've been able to do that. We increased the complement of prosecutors. So this is work I know how to do. I'm not just saying I'm going to increase teachers' pay. We're not saying we're just going to get the work right. We've already done it. So those are two areas I'm very proud of. We have decreased crime. Crime is down to the lowest levels we've seen since the 80s. We said we were going to do it, and we have. I said I was going to fight for the people, not only in the community, but the people who fight hard inside that office every day. I'm going to do the same thing in the county executive's office.
All right. So then I've got to ask this question as we go to commercial break. I know studio husband, I'm coming. I got to ask this question. Now, why Angela Alsabrook for county exec?
I have a record. Part of what I am so proud of is I get to go back to Prince George 7 years later and say it's not just what I say, but I actually have things they can look to. I have been effective. I can get this work done. And the thing I'm proud of, just answering the question a moment ago about everything I promised we have delivered as state's attorney. I said we would have a criminal justice system that worked for you and not against you. I know that I had represented this office, like I said, effectively with crime decreasing. We've done a great job of managing the office, managing the business of the office. We have gotten out there and fought for education. I have worked all of the areas that I would work for in the county executive's office. I've already done the work. So workforce development with the Back on Track program, where we're now getting former drug dealers into college, getting them jobs and workforce development training. We have to do all of this work in terms of creating jobs and opportunities. We have to keep people safe, and we have to focus on education. Believe it or not, even as state's attorney, these are things I have experience in doing. I have a track record of doing. So it's not just an ideologue, a person who says, I have great thoughts. But the reason I believe that I ought to be elected is because I also have actions and I have a record of work, a body of work now to say you can trust that I could get it done because I've done it in the past. And because I love so deeply, like I said, I have been an active member of this community. People here know me, and they will continue to have a responsive public servant who is present for them. I worship with them. I have learned with them. I have grieved with them, and I will continue to do that as county executive, and I would love to have a chance to be elected.
All right. Well, you're hearing me here. You are listening for Sister Live Talk, and we have Angela Alsabrook in the house. I am just thrilled, you guys. I'm so excited. I'm just blushing like a little kid.
And guess what? We're having fun in here, y'all. So what you don't hear is when we go to break, we're going to have the music start again.
Yeah, and she loves the jam, too. So if you'd like to call in and talk to Angela or ask any questions, please dial in at 240-455-5934. We have a few people in the studio that just wanted to come in. We have our Sister for Sister Network crew in the house, all of them. They're members. We got Margaret. She's actually had wrote a play, and her play aired at Bowie Performance Art last night. And then we have another performance here tonight. And she was like, if Angela Alsabrook in the house, I got to come through on my way to Bowie to my play. So she wanted to be in the studio to get to meet you. So on commercial break, we're going to jam it up and take some pictures. Yes, and our president, Charlie, is here. What? Charlie is here. We call her Charlie because she's always calling in because she in the community. Okay. So that's Charlie. She called in every week to give us our lessons, and you know.
She's Charlie. We're the angels. So So you're blushing.
Yeah.
So Miss Angela doesn't know, but John does. When she starts blushing, them cheeks start swelling up, and we get to pinch her cheeks. Like, look at her. She's already. When she was a baby, that's when we used to do pinch her cheeks.
Yes. So they was talking about Angela before you got here. John gonna get on one side of the cheeks, and Roland gonna get on the other side. They owe me pinches.
Pinches the cheeks.
Yeah, pinching on the cheeks. All right, Roland, take us out. You're listening to 4SISTERS Live Talk here on eLife Media. We'll be right back at you.
star. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Grace Jones. Jones, slave to the rhythm.
Born in Jamaica, raised in America, and she was really an American girl with Jamaican parents.
never missing a beat. Yeah. Boy, was it neat. Yeah. Not just neat, she was totally neat when she did the freak with me. Never missing a beat. Yeah. Boy, was it neat. Yeah. The girl's a freak. The girl never misses a beat. Yeah, yeah. It didn't work, no. It wasn't funky no more. Round and round, she's the freak of my desire. And when she danced, she set the world on fire. The little girl's the freak of the week. When she dances, she give me happy feet. Ooh, she's the freak of my desire. When she dances, set the world on fire. She give me happy feet. She's the freak of the week. Never missing a beat. Yeah. Boy, was it neat. Yeah. She was totally deep when she did the freak with me. It didn't work, no. Oh, no, not the most. Funky one, funky. She just needed, she was totally deep when she did the freak with me.
All right, all right. Welcome back for Sister Live Talk here at eLife Media. We got Charlie in the building. Charlie is here.
I'm here.
Hey, Peggy.
Hey, Karen.
I love you.
I love you back, girl.
Yes, it's always nice when we can have our president in the house. I'll tell you, Peggy, we love you so much. We call her Charlie because she always in the field calling in, giving us our orders to do for today. So we're glad to have you in the building. We love you so much, Charlie.
I
There's
love
so
y'all
much
guys.
going on. Over the holiday, we had so much to share and talk about. We moved into our new location, Sister for Sister Network. Woohoo! Yes, we are right here off of Forest Boulevard.
Yeah. And guess what? In the same building that the Prince George's Chamber of Commerce is.
Oh, that's
We're really on the other side. So
That's excellent. So there's a partnership.
It's a partnership.
Yes.
Right
There's a
there.
partnership.
Yes, and look,
Exactly.
and I tell you, Peggy, and I know how to get there. My non-sense direction, I know how to get there. I know how to get there. So when I know how to get
Oh,
there,
my God.
oh man, things gonna be happening.
Well, Karen, you haven't seen the space yet, have you?
Yes, you remember I
Oh,
came
that's
on
right. That's
Friday.
right, you came
I
on
came
Friday.
to, yes, I know the announcement we had on Friday for
Yeah.
starting the holiday off. So, you know.
We're going to have an open house, but we wanted to kind of wait and we get in. But we had 3 offices. The first office is our S4SN headquarters, national
Yes.
headquarters,
Yes.
because we're going national
Yes.
in January. We're going to be going around the country, okay, and around the world.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
and then the next office is our S4SN Business Cafe. So if anybody wants to come in and use the office, instead of going to Starbucks or going to
Oh, okay.
Panera Bread, this way you have some privacy. You close the door, you're in there. And then the next office is for our nonprofit so that y'all guys can go in there and collaborate. There's
Okay.
enough space in there that you can come, bring your work, bring your, you better be going after some funding.
Yes, yes,
You
yes.
better be doing something of that sort. So we felt that we wanted to set an environment where they can go in and another organization can come in and just sit down and just brainstorm and make some things happen. So we finally did it. I mean, we've been doing what we've been doing for 15 years, and I've been doing it out of my home office. But I said, my husband said, look, it's time for y'all to move that stuff out of my house.
Yes.
So we finally got everything settled and everything looks good. So
Well,
y'all guys will be coming
congratulations.
in.
Yes,
That is
yes.
so awesome. That
Yes,
is progress
we
and at
finally-
the right time.
At the
Yes,
right
at
time.
the right time. It's
Oh,
always
good.
the right time. So, and then, we have other great news to share, but we'll share that off the air.
Oh
So-
no! Come on, Karen.
No,
You can't
no,
hold
I
that
can't-
back. You
no,
gotta share.
no, we should have shared that on commercial break. But yeah, see, we got, that leads for good talk when it's
Is
on
she
commercial break.
expecting- I mean,
You know what?
That's big news.
Let me tell you something.
that would be different.
Look, if I'm expecting, I'm going back and see my doctor because I'm going to sue him. And my studio husband, are we expecting?
See, that's what Roland said, I ain't got nothing to do with that.
4 or 5.
Nothing.
No.
This is so funny. You see how the conversation changed when you get a round table of women together?
We're expecting more great news.
Yes.
Obliged.
I like that. So Peggy, this is just great. We've been here with Angela Alsabrook. This is so. I just feel like when she come in the building, we are just at home. This is my sister girl.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, Gamba Hayden is a client of mine, and she just always, every time I talk about you, she's like, "Oh, tell Angela, I'm just a big fan of hers, and I know she probably don't remember me, but y'all went to Bennett together. She know you, yes."
We were down there at the same time. I was actually in Durham when she was there was that Wadesboro, near where Bennett.
Yes.
Well, we're North Carolinian college women. Yes.
Yes. And she just take pride in that. And so I know Gamba is listening. So Gamba, I had to get
Hey,
you your
Gamba.
shout out in. Yes. Because she always like, oh my gosh, I just follow her. I'm just so proud of her. She was always like that in school. We can tell that she was going to go out and do great things. So
Thank you.
that's what she said
God is
about
good.
you.
God
Yes.
is good.
Yes. So that's the mic for you ladies. So make sure you're talking to the mic. Okay. All righty. Yeah. So Peggy, let's keep it moving and ask Angela some more questions. We got the women power here. Well, let me ask this question. Let me just go on and throw out there and address the ugly elephant in the room. Everyone's saying, okay, This would be the first woman for County Exec. So the question is, why should we vote for her just because she's a woman? Or why should we? So how do you feel about that part of it? People thinking that if you get in, you should get in because you're a woman.
No, you know what? That's so offensive. I wouldn't. I think that diminishes women to say that the only reason that we should be selected for leadership is because we're women. No, we should be selected when we're qualified.
Yes,
and
do the job.
Because we can do the job. And you know what? I hope I have honored all the women who elected me by the job that I did as state's attorney. And if they ask why and as well as executive director of the Revenue Authority, the work that I've done over the last 20 years. And so absolutely not. I would ask every person who would consider supporting me to please support me because I have a record of accomplishment, because I am a woman. I happen to be a woman, which I am very proud of, and I think women approach problems in a different way. And I think that that's been demonstrated even through my work as state's attorney, that we have approached some things that had not been addressed before we got there. But no, it's because I am qualified, because I have the experience, because I have a record to go with it, and because I have a heart for leadership. So those are the reasons. But I think it diminishes women when we say, you should only vote for me because I'm a woman.
Yes.
That's not fair.
Yes,
that's not fair.
Yes, and 65% of the voters are women. So and we voted to keep putting these men in office. So I do believe I'll go on a record and say this. I believe that more women, we need to be recognized that it is more great women of leadership that belongs in these offices, not because they are women, because of the work that they are putting in. And one of the others, I had the pleasure of interviewing Angela at the same time. I love Jocelyn. You talk about, that's my little firecracker right there. That's my little firecracker. You tell her I miss her. I got to give her a call and get her on the show. Now, I'm telling you, when she comes in the building, and I'm telling you, that's just like Angela, I'm proud to be around them. Like she said, not because they just women, but they are women of strong leadership.
Exactly.
And that's what we need. That's what we need. So I feel you on that.
Because she fights for us. And I'm sure when Jocelyn walks in the building, shakes.
I'm telling you, it does.
It's the truth.
Kidding.
She don't play.
You, that is my little firecracker right there, boy.
But that's the strength that we bring to leadership.
Yes.
There's a certain level of compassion.
Yes.
There's a fire in the belly of women because we fight so hard for so many.
Yes.
This is what we do in our lives outside of public service, right?
Yes.
We fight in our
Yes.
family,
Yes.
we fight in our churches, we fight for our children.
Yes.
This is who we are.
Yes.
But we also bring very complex solutions to problems.
Yes.
And I think that that's what makes us effective. We are problem solvers and bridge builders.
Right.
There you go.
We are bridge builders and problem solvers, and I think that's what I have really tried to focus on is solving problems and building relationships. You can't get anything done unless you can work with people.
That's right.
But
And
you
build
can
that relationship.
and build relationships.
Yes, and Peggy, we preach about that all the time.
time.
That's the most important thing is building them relationships. So, I just like the fact, like you said, it's about going out in the community, listening to your community, showing your community you are there for them, building the relationships.
And
that
showing
need to be,
up is the key.
Showing up. And yes, building them relationship, because when you build relationship, what you build is trust.
That's true.
And I have to say this about Angela. It's not like, okay, I'm running, and so I now have to get out in the community. You've always been out in the community.
I have been.
You've
And
always
you know what,
represented
Peggy,
the county.
And that just to go show that is definitely this is confirmation right here, because you wasn't even in this building, and we just talked about that how she's always in the community. And don't need a big old entourage to be traveling with her, because some people we know, I'm put out there, when they get to a certain level in office, or even not even a certain level in office, it's just you can't even get to them even though they come out. But it's just big entourage around them that it's still not personable. Angela make her visits always personable. I mean, come on now, you see her on commercial break, she she jamming harder than the rest of us. So that's what she keep it so real. Yes.
God says He can't use you. You are not humble.
Oh my God!
That's
so
the measure
true.
of how we ought to operate. We already have had the best example of it ever.
Yes, yes.
An example that I seek personally to follow is a Christ-like example, which says that He was among us.
Yes.
He was us. He was humble, and and so that you are useless if you are not humble. And so I have been, and the people who I do no favors when I show up. That's what you should do. I think it's sad to hear people say, "Oh, wow, you're here." Well, isn't this what people should come to expect? That's what public service looks like. I ask you for a chance to represent you. How can I represent you if I don't show up?
That's right.
Wow.
That is
Wow.
it.
That's so true.
You know, that is just
That is so
awesome.
true.
That's wonderful. I just love this. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So, Peggy, I know you have plenty of questions to ask, so let me be quiet for a minute. But I'm loving this. She is in the building. Angela is here, and Peggy can tell you I've been doing a countdown. And ever since me and John talked with John, we talked about 2 months ago. I've been doing a countdown ever since John confirmed it, saying, "Okay, Karen, we coming on tonight." And I know that's all y'all been hearing me talk about, right? So I'm just proud to have this
And
moment.
you're in Prince George's. The last time I came here, we had to go to DC.
Yes,
somewhere,
we was
right?
in DC.
Right, and then
Yes.
in Greenbelt, and then to DC. And I'm like
Yes,
saying, no, our home is here in Prince George's County.
Yeah, so we glad to be back in the county. And that was the first thing I said too. I said, "Angela, you gotta come on the radio show." And we back in Maryland.
Oh my God!
Yes. So this is wonderful.
Angela, I know for a fact that you're so passionate about the issues surrounding domestic violence, and we know about the situation that happened yesterday in the news. That just took me
So
was
what
heavy.
happened, Peggy? Just in case our listeners, everyone didn't get a chance to hear about. So
It was a mother and was it newborn? Was the baby born?
She was pregnant.
She was pregnant at the
She had
time,
to
right?
deliver that baby.
Deliver the baby.
After being
Can you imagine being in that kind of pain? You're already in pain delivering a child, but to have an extra burden of additional pain,
Yeah, she's a warrior.
that is a warrior.
yes.
That's
So what we understand is,
Yeah, go ahead and share.
yes. A woman got burned by her spouse. And she was pregnant and then had to deliver the baby under distress, like you said.
Distress,
So that has been a big concern here in Prince George's County is domestic violence. So I just want to hear your take on that, Angela. And how do you feel about domestic violence? I know we talked about it before, but let's revisit that.
So you know what? I started as a domestic violence prosecutor 20 years ago.
Oh, really?
I was hired as the first ever full-time
remember
domestic
that.
violence prosecutor in our office in May 27, 1997.
97.
20 years ago. And from my standpoint, a lot hasn't changed, but a lot has. When I started in that office, I was the only prosecutor along with one advocate. We didn't have a unit. There was no attention given to it really, except we had one paralegal who worked on domestic violence along with me. There was a lot of ignorance, I have to tell you, even from the bench. Judges who said the most ignorant things you could ever imagine to me. Not just about domestic violence victims, but about sexual assault victims. We'd have 15-year-old and 14-year-old girls who 40-year-old men slept with, and judges would say, "Isn't this a matter between a man and a woman?" I had a judge say that to me. So fast forward, a lot of the cases that we've seen, unfortunately, are much the same to my dismay. But I have to tell you, and I've seen this whole kids, the idea that children have now been so prominently the victims of domestic violence is something that is unfortunately different and for the worse. So we've moved in a very negative direction when we find that 7 of the 20 domestic violence victims last year were children.
Yeah, that's what I heard, the numbers.
7 of the 20 were children. But this is the way this year, in spite of what we've seen, we've made some progress thanks to all of you all and the others whose voices we've heard in unison. We hear now more and more about it. We've seen protective orders this year, for example. If we continue at the pace that we see now, we're going to have 6,000 additional protective orders requested this year from last year. People now know, and I think this is a good thing in that we are now saying to people, you don't have to stay in this.
That's
You
right.
can go and report it to somebody. So the reporting is increasing, which I think is a sign that we're moving in the right direction.
Right direction,
People
yeah.
understand. Before it was so hidden. There was so much shame associated with it. I hear,
Exactly.
and I've heard, even recently some ignorance where people say, doesn't this happen with low-income women? No.
No, it doesn't.
It happens with all women, of all races, of all classes,
That's it.
of all
Yes,
religions.
yes.
This is the thing we know is that I think very slowly, part of the slow progress we've made is to now open up the curtains and have people see all over the country and all over the world that, you know what, all of us have a reason to care about domestic violence, because it's happening to the woman in your office sitting next to you who you don't know about. It's happening in the woman at the pew in the church
That's right,
with
in
you
the
on
church.
Sunday who looks all made up. It might be happening to the first lady.
That's right.
It's happening to business women who are all suited up. It's happening too many places, and so now we've now acknowledged that, you know, we don't have any reason to look down on anybody, and we have to work on this issue together, and we have to make sure that we're addressing men.
Right.
I get what you're
Because
saying.
what the
Don't
point
forget
is, we
about
also
men.
we have for so long all we talk to are the women. Well, if we only address the victims and the women in these cases, then we have now ignored half the solution. We have to engage men in this issue too, and say, if you need our help, we're here for you too.
But you know, it's gotten so deep now. It's our young girls that we have to now worry about, even the young boys that are dealing with the same issue. I had the pleasure of yesterday to go over to the Family Justice Center. Beautiful, amazing space. And I took a moment and had to reflect on when I had to deal with my mother and father in a domestic violence. I dealt with that for 20 years. And when they had their encounters and when we had to leave, the closest place we had to go was to the Eastern District Police Department in Baltimore. Okay? And I remember going there 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, but by 6 o'clock, we had to go. You're out of there because you could not stay. So we didn't have any place to run and to go, other than thankful to my mom's had a very good friend that we stayed there, but my father was there the next morning.
Wow.
See, and that goes back to this whole thing about mental health. My father was mentally messed up. You know, from the cover, he looked fine, but inside, he was dealing with a whole lot of stuff. And not to try to take us off of this, but just to give you a quick thought, I lost a brother and a cousin in a drowning accident. Okay, they're 3, 4 years old, 2 sisters' kids. My mother went through hell because she was totally responsible for both of the kids. So what my father did when he got into his mood, he would take it out on my mom. Okay, so I'm just, you know, I'm very somebody said to me the other day when I was sharing this, and because when I share because of my mother. But she said to me, but do you know that you're a survivor?
You are.
And I never looked at it that way. Because when they encountered or had their bout, I was always in the middle separating them. And for some strange reason, God was always there to allow me to separate them. And when that happened, my father would stop. Okay? So I know what it feels like. I know when you have to run and when you have to grab the closest thing to put on your back. I lived that. And so that's why I'm so passionate about mental health. I am very passionate about domestic violence. And I'm here, and we're here at this table because we're going to make some change to that.
And everything you said, Peggy, is so relevant. It's because the point you mentioned about mental health, hurt people.
That's it. That's
And
it.
your example about your father is the reason that we have to reach out more to men, to say to them that the stigma attached to mental health treatment, mental health counseling, we got to get in our communities. It has been so much. You know what? You mind your business. We don't go out and let people know the things that are happening in our homes.
Right.
But we have to give people a way of saying, you know what? Don't be ashamed.
That's
There's
right.
no shaming and blaming. We can't afford it.
We can't afford it.
Because when we shame and blame, we push people back into secrecy in these situations. So if your
Exactly.
father, someone had been able to say, look, man, it's okay for you to hurt. And both of your parents lost a child. But they dealt with it differently.
Exactly.
And so he hurt her because he was hurt.
He was hurting.
And I imagine nobody ever offered him the services that he needed to cope with the pain that he was dealing with. And and guess what happens? So this is still happening. The children are the invisible victims of this violence.
There
The
you
child
go.
who had to jump in the middle, as you did, of your parents. That's still happening because all of these cases we're logging at the courthouse every day. Guess what? Most of these people have children.
Have children,
Yes,
exactly.
So it's not happening outside their presence. It is happening in their presence.
And so then we question why our kids are messed up.
Yes.
And why they can't learn.
Well,
Just
and
take
you
that to
bring
school.
and no.
Yeah.
Let me share it with you. I spent 50% of my time in school
and the other 50, I was worrying about whether or not I went home and found my mother dead. So you talk about mental illness.
And then the inability to learn.
I don't know how I
Yes.
did it. I did by the grace of God, but
Yes, learning
it
under
was rough.
stress.
It was rough.
Yes,
But then,
but
you know, I think one of the things we have to think about too is after we get them that help and they decide to change their lives, we got to forgive them and we have to give them some grace.
Yes,
What
yes.
happens is a lot of these people that go out here and they do the work to get better, but then they're not extended grace. They're not extended the grace to then go on and live their lives productively, which then takes them back into that cycle. If you're not going
That's
to
right.
extend them life, extend them grace and mercy, and say, yes, you have done something wrong, you have accepted responsibility for it, you have served time or whatever you have done, and now come back and let me see you work and do the work to then help others. But we don't do this.
But you know, the key piece is missing is follow up.
yes,
Yeah.
We don't follow up. You know, we put them through those changes and they go through that cycle, but where's the follow up?
Exactly.
Are we following up to make sure this is not going to happen again?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let me. I'm sorry. Let me throw this question out here. We have been talking to a lot of the candidates that's running, and Kendall Wade is running for sheriff here in Prince George's County, and he's very passionate about domestic violence and the repeat of the cycle, of domestic violence. And his thing he posed is having them to be registered, just like sex offender, because and I was like, I never thought about that. You know, how do we feel? That's kind of entertain that for just a second, because one of the cases he was talking about where the young lady was had reported her abuser, and you know how it can be, like you said, some judges can be a little naive, kept letting them get off. So now he done went to the next relationship doing the same thing. And then the next relationship, it just got progressively into, at the point that about the fourth relationship, he ended up killing the person that he was abusing. So what about that, having them to be registered? You know, as domestic, when you get a case of domestic violence, how you feel about that?
I think it's an excellent idea, to be honest with you. We need to know who they are. We need to see their faces. Just like they put these individuals on in the post office, okay, or on the big screen. We need to know who they are. So I think that's a great, wonderful idea.
I think there's been some movement in that direction in this way, is that there was legislation to make sure that assaults that are domestically connected are now labeled as such. So if you're convicted of assault, we now can ask a judge on the record to make sure that the record reflects that that person they have been convicted of a domestically related assault. Because you can have assault on your record, and if we don't know whether the assault meant you were in a fist fight at a bar or whether you were in a domestic assault, we feel that it is important for us and for the public
distinguish
to know
that,
whether or not this is a domestic assault. So to your point, there is already some
Something
movement
moving.
in that direction to make sure that the
Wonderful.
assault is clearly designated. I heard the other day on the record, one of our prosecutors requested the other day to make sure on the record that the crime was labeled as a domestic, that it was in the record written down as a domestic related assault. So this is what we have to start doing, is to make sure we do that. Now I will say that part of the registry concept, I understand why sexual assaults are definitely registration issues. I have come to understand through my time that you cannot be cured of pedophilia. You cannot be a sexual offender. Generally, they will always repeat the crime.
Exactly.
Almost always. It's so amazing. We have some people who have been convicted 40-something years ago, and we have a number of cases. They're called Unger cases that were overturned on appeal in the state of Maryland because they didn't have the right jury instructions. So we had all those cases come rushing back to our office a few years ago throughout the state. And we had to retry. We retried at least one of those cases. And we had to do agreements with some of them because they've been in jail for 45 years, and we didn't have evidence to retry them. I mentioned that for this reason. The only people, after we let them out after 44 and 45 years, guess who the first 2 people to reoffend were? People who were convicted of sex crimes. After 4, they had been in jail for 44 and 45 years. And as soon as they came out, the first 2 to reoffended with children, sex offenders. So you cannot cure pedophilia, but I do think there's a way to designate a domestic offender.
Okay.
And make sure that it's in the record.
Well, then I want to move on a little bit to our 2 other special guests here, and that we have here, Sean and Arlene, and let's talk about the seniors. That's close to their heart. Last month was National Senior Citizen Awareness Month, and Arlene is from Charles County, and we have Sean here from Prince George's County, and I
2
love
counties?
yes 2 county, one vision. So wow, so and I was glad to be able to share you all a special moment. You launched it last month for Senior Citizen Month, so that was great. So now you're taking it on the road around the 2 counties in one vision. So it started in Charles County first. Yes. So tell us a little bit about that, and then we're going to get Angela to take on how she feel about the seniors and what we need to do and can do with the seniors. So why the seniors?
The seniors is, we owe so much to them. Our seniors is what got us here today.
Yeah,
that's
so
right.
we have to remember that, and we have to honor them.
Yeah.
So in our growth, LaShawn and I met, and what better program to put together? We shared the similar vision in helping seniors,
Right.
and with Miss Peggy's guidance, helped us to join the 2 counties, one vision, because we're hoping that this will grow.
And it doesn't cross counties.
It doesn't.
It doesn't have a set location.
Correct.
So we're breaking that stigma that is only over here or only over here. It's everywhere. Seniors are everywhere, and we love our seniors.
Yes.
And we gotta honor them. I was raised by seniors, so they're really special in my heart.
Yes, and when I was there, one of the main things that the seniors was saying is just not having enough resources. That was their biggest fear in the room, Angela, when they was talking to the seniors is that they on this fixed income. And it's just not enough.
And maybe
It's
to
just
elaborate
not-
a little bit about what the program is, we
Okay.
go into a senior center, and we provide them with lunch, and we sit down and talk with them. We find out what their issues are, what their need is.
Yes.
We find out in conversation over lunch. And it was just wonderful how we were able to understand where we can be helpful to seniors. And the idea is that we go back and then we visit them.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't
We
just go
adopt them.
once. We go back and we go
Follow.
back and we
Right.
keep going back, and we always let them know that they are in our hearts.
Correct.
And we give them the resources that they need. Or we find ways to partner them with other people that can provide the resources that they need. So this Monday we're doing Windsor Crossing Senior Center, and we're taking lunch over, and we're going to just sit down and have a conversation and just talk
Where
to
is
them.
that? In Suitland, Maryland?
That's in Suitland, Maryland.
Yes.
From 11 to 2, we'll just go and we'll just sit and bless the seniors with a meal and just have a conversation
I
with them
love
and find
it.
out what their needs are. We were lucky enough to partner with Catholic Charities in the SHARE program, so we'll be able to go over and ask them, are you on SNAP? Do you need SNAP? Do you need
What is SNAP? Tell people what that
SNAP
is.
is temporary cash assistance.
Okay.
So it's what the food program was years ago. They just changed the name. And some seniors know about it and some don't. But we need to let them know that they can apply. And we have people on site who can actually sign them up for it. Or, follow up and make sure that they've gotten what they needed to get. It's not just us going into the senior center and then walking out. We go in, we see what the needs are, and then we come back and we check in on them.
I love
And
it.
we have to be aware too, a lot of seniors apply for SNAP, and for some reason, unbeknownst to us, they get denied. Or, a lot of seniors don't want to apply because, again, of that privacy, they don't want to tell everyone their personal information. But I know for myself, in Charles County, I have a nonprofit organization called the Arnold House, and in helping our Waldorf Astoria, where we did our senior program last month, we've been going back and we've been providing them with a share program, and we've been reaching out to them and partnering them with volunteers, because we need to partner with our volunteers and our young people to tell them, we need to pay back. We need to help our seniors where it is needed. Whether it's reading to them, whether it's maybe picking up some things for them, or anything. Sometimes even the smallest thing can mean so much.
Exactly.
Just the fact that you're there and visiting them, because they once you got them talking, they really want.
Tell you all.
They just really wanted somebody to listen to them.
I mean,
yes,
over a
yes,
meal, you
yes.
can have anybody open up to you.
Yeah, oh,
You put them
definitely.
sit down
And they were
I
so
love it.
gracious and thankful to have us there. They were just so grateful to have us there. And outside of that, we just said 65% of the women are the voting power here. But after that is what? Our seniors.
Our
Believe
seniors.
it or not,
And
our
they're
seniors.
full of so much knowledge.
Yes. Yes.
You'd be amazed of the things that they'll educate us on.
Right,
Yes,
exactly.
yes,
That's what I
yes.
love
What
being
better
around.
way than to reach out and let them know that someone's here. But our program, the 2 counties, 1 vision, is not limited. We don't want anybody to think that it's just Prince George's County and Charles County. We're opening it up to any county and to any other nonprofit that wants to join us,
Right, because
and
I have
help
a
their
nonprofit.
county.
Yes.
And it's my
Okay.
nonprofit, Heaven's Plate, that is partnering with the Arnold House, but we challenge other nonprofits
Absolutely.
to come in
We
with
challenge
us.
you.
Come in. Let's get together and let's do it in your county as well. It doesn't have to be just 2 counties, 1 vision.
does not.
It could be many counties, 1 vision.
Yes,
It
yes.
can go
It
across
can
the
grow.
All
Yeah.
counties.
It can
Absolutely.
be all
And-
counties, absolutely.
Yeah.
The goal is to spread
All county,
the
one
love.
vision.
Yeah,
right?
all
No,
counties,
one vision.
all county, and the same goal to the vision.
It is.
We gotta say that into existence,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Gotta
yes.
say it into existence.
I love it.
So, Angela, the seniors, how's that? What did that work out in your plan?
I love seniors.
Yes,
I just,
yes,
to
'cause
the
we
core,
saw- yes,
to
yes.
the core. And there's a saying that says, "Without a vision, the people will perish."
Yes.
But the same is true without history.
Yes.
And so what I'm hearing even today is that history that we transfer from our elders to us is so critically important. The wisdom that they transfer to
That's
us is
right.
so critically important. So you can imagine a people who would turn their backs on their history,
That's right.
turn their backs on wisdom, the people will perish. And so it is important to preserve that history
is so
and
true.
to also honor our parents, which we've been told to do as well. And so I love seniors. Our office has been committed to them. In fact, Prince George's has the only elder abuse unit in the state. We stood up a whole unit in the state's attorney's office just to honor seniors, and we started in a special unit we developed called Special Prosecution Unit. So we have assigned a special prosecutor to handle cases relating to elders, and we have seen so much exploitation, not only a physical abuse, but we've seen a lot of financial abuse of our seniors. And much like we talk about domestic violence, the shame that goes with it, many of our seniors are very ashamed to share that the one person
Right.
who you rely on for a visit is the person who is robbing you blind, who is stealing from an account, who's abusing your trust. And so we have prosecuted those cases very effectively of caregivers who have taken their life savings and misassign those resources. And so we have been very protective of our seniors, and really we seek to honor them in that way. But I also spend a lot of time with seniors. I was just yesterday the keynote speaker at the Caregivers Conference, hosted by the Department of Family Services, to make sure that we are encouraging seniors to pour into themselves as they care for their loved ones. My family has a very rich history, which I'm very proud of caring for the seniors in our family. It's the way that we've been taught, is that we care for each other in the moments where we need it. So my grandmother and, my mother cared for my grandmother. My parents, she lived with them for 16 years. She passed last year. Prior to that, I watched her care for my great-grandmother. And so it's just the way that we do that. But I spend a lot of time training seniors, go out to the various facilities to talk to them about all these crazy scams we've seen as well.
Yeah.
People who try to call and say, I'm from the IRS, and you can go get your credit card right now and bring me a payment, and I'll pay for your debt. And we tell the seniors, you will never be contacted by phone by the IRS.
That's right.
They
Yes,
only
yes.
contact you by mail.
Yes.
But we've tried to, so we have a robust program where we go out to the facilities. I'll be
Right.
out on Tuesday at another one teaching seniors how to look for signs and to make sure that they are safe. So we love seniors. I love children, seniors. We love family. You know, it's
One
just
of the-
family.
One of the
Family.
biggest things that you could do for a senior that really won't cost you anything but makes the largest impact is going and just maybe sitting and talking with
with
them
them.
for a while.
Yeah.
They just want someone to talk to, you know, and you know they're put in these places and sometimes they're forgotten. And just the knowledge, as you said, just maybe a half an hour, you know, 15 minutes,
Yes.
and just let them talk to you.
Well,
You know?
we're gonna have to take a quick commercial break because our special guest Angela. I know you have to leave, but we
been
have a
honored.
gift. We have a gift for
Oh,
you.
you get gifts
Yes,
and good
yes.
music and all this friendship. What can I tell you all? And I do mean this to everybody around. Thank you so much.
You're
I have,
welcome.
in case you can't tell, I have danced. I have hugged.
We got pictures.
I want to say to anybody, if you ever invited on this show, please come.
Yeah.
I've had such a wonderful
if,
time. So
if
thank you
someone
all.
want to get involved with your campaign and learn more about you, how can they get in contact?
AngelaAlsoBrooks.com.
Yes, Angela.
Yes, please go to AngelaAlsoBrooks.com. That's our website. You can sign up there as a volunteer. You can put your email address in so we can send you information about our campaign. I encourage everybody, please come out this Thursday. We're having our big family barbecue where we are honoring the youth of Prince George's this Thursday, and it's at the Newton White Mansion from 5:30 to 8. We're going to have Ebenezer AME step team. We have some beautiful child poets who are performing for us that day. We have a double Dutch team. It's going to be wonderful. We wanted to honor the youth of Prince George's County, and that's at that barbecue. So please come out.
I know, and look, and I must confess, Thursday is my only day I have to work extremely late. But you know what? I'm gonna try to see if I can.
Dutch?
Yes, I
Double Dutch, didn't that take you
I
back?
know exactly double Dutch. I used to be good at it
Me
too.
too.
And
So
my
yes.
granddaughter just learned, and she's 5.
She
Oh wow.
She learned 2 weeks ago.
That's great.
So
though.
double Dutch. You gonna have double Dutch
excited.
there?
We're gonna
Seriously?
have double Dutch. We have a double Dutch team.
Oh,
Yes.
can you
Yeah.
jump,
And we're having,
Angela?
I can jump.
Oh,
My mother taught me. We're having a double Dutch contest.
oh wow.
We're also having DR Soul.
So what time is this
It's from
event?
5:30 to 8.
Okay,
at the
and
White Mansion.
yes, and what's the cost?
And the cost is $30.
Yeah,
$30.
only
Oh,
$30. You
and
hear
if there's
that?
a
So you
seat-
go to AngelaAlsoBrook.com now and sign up and get still tickets available.
And $10 for children.
Oh,
Yep, and tickets
wow.
still available. And for seniors, many of them call us. We comp most of the seniors who come.
Okay.
So if they call us, if they want to come out, we bus them in. We bring them in. So anyway, thank you again for having me.
Yes,
God
yes.
bless
All
everybody.
right.
Let's keep working.
Studio husband, take her out on a
Thank
nice
you.
jam.
and DJ Roland, thank you.
Yes,
Thanks,
thank you.
Angela.
We'll be right
Our
back.
Thank you
pleasure.
so much.
Thank you. It was very nice to meet you.
That's right, baby. I want all y'all to walk on over to the bridge with me. Cause I'm gonna take you to the water and make you drink. Party, baby. Cause the funk show will make you stink. Say what? If you let the funk hit your eye, we're gonna turn you to a spot. Let the funk in your heart, baby. Funk not only kills, it have kills. No, before we do that,
Do you have a secret?
Right.
You gotta
You
have
gotta.
a secret.
I bet your secret's good.
You got one now.
Yeah, it was always a
Okay,
secret.
look, this is how we're going to end. This is welcome back to Four Sister Live Talk, and we're in the studio talking about secrets. So everybody got to share a secret today. So we're going to start with our guests first because they were so bubbly about they have a secret. So what's the secret? What's the secret?
Well, once they tell her, they the secret.
Yeah. So what's the secret?
Everybody gonna know.
So you ready to let the secret out?
Are we gonna tell the secret?
We have to do now.
Y'all started it.
Yes. Okay. What's the secret, guys?
Well, we got a call that we were approved. Arlen had got approved for the capital area food bank in Prince
Yay!
George's County, which
Oh.
prompted Sean to go out and look for space to do a pantry in Prince George's County, and we think we have a new location.
Oh
So
wow!
we
Look
will
at my
have
girls.
a new location for Heaven's Plate in the Arnold
wow.
House in Prince George's County.
So in
Oh
our growth,
wow!
And we can only.
And your growth has only been a couple of days.
Yes,
Yes, yes,
2 days.
wow.
So the Arnold House is gladly trying. Well, we are. I should not
You
say
are.
trying.
No,
Right.
they are.
We are coming happily into Prince George's County, and I can only thank Miss Peggy because since Sisters for Sisters Network Inc.
Yes,
Y'all
yes.
real good, huh?
Uh-huh,
We do need to do the little ink.
Ink.
Little ink.
uh-huh.
Since I have met you, you have been wonderful in opening your heart and everyone in introducing. Well, I think we need to give that to Carla, right?
Carla
Cash.
Carla
So
Cash.
Carla
We have
Cash.
to tell Carla Cash. Thank you,
Let me
thank you,
take a
thank you.
picture.
Yes,
Yes.
Miss Carla Cash.
Look, well, I'm gonna say this much, Peggy. You can tell that they are sisters at the hip, you know, and sharing and connecting. Because
love,
even look,
honey.
listen to this though, Peggy. Even though our guests left, they still sharing the same mic.
We can't help it.
Oh, are we sure? We are.
We have 2 counties.
But we do have
One
one.
county.
Yes, yes, 2 mics,
Right,
one
yes,
person, you know. So 2 people, 1 mic, or however you want to say it, right?
But we do. We want to say thank you. We're very grateful.
Oh, thank you all guys.
We just have great things ahead,
Yes.
and it's
so
God's
amazing.
plan because it's
Yes.
all just opening up.
So
And
as
it's
we
so
end,
easy.
how can we get in touch with you guys?
Yes, if any organization, nonprofit, anyone is interested in joining our vision of 2 counties, 1 vision, but don't limit to the 2 counties. Any county, anyone is welcome. We ask you to please contact the Arnold House. We will be taking or giving any information in regards to joining us. The phone number is 301-932-8555. You can leave messages for either LaShawn or myself, and we'll be more than happy to welcome you, help answer any questions. Right? We're gonna.
Yes, we're excited.
Yes,
We
and
have
say that
so
number
much
again.
excited.
That phone number is 301-932-8555.
So I feel a website get ready to be created and in the makings. That's another secret. That's another secret. They wasn't ready to tell us yet. That's
I want
another
your
secret.
now.
You're on the hot seat now.
Okay. Well, my secret is that I can't tell my secret.
You have to tell your secret.
Karen, look,
I can
man.
tell.
I just got them to tell theirs. You gotta have. Or do we do
Okay.
it offline? Do we do it off?
Yes, we have to do it
You're gonna have
offline.
now the listeners.
Yes. Oh, well, to the listeners. Okay, I have to tell the secret. We're actually on September the 22nd. I'm opening up my home and I'm doing a soft launch, and you have to come to see what we're launching. So, and I give you a
little
hint.
teaser.
Yes, a little hint is look. The word vision is getting used a lot.
It is.
So that's a little hint. If you know me, for the last 5 years, I've been doing the what? The Vision Conference. So it's something you will learn this year at the Vision Conference on September the 22nd. That's a
That's
Friday.
a Friday, isn't it?
At
Yeah.
my home
Mark
from
your
2.
calendars.
Yep. That Friday is going to be for 2 hours from 7 to 9:30. We're 2.5 hours from 7 to 9:30. So you must be present to hear the rest of the secret. Yes. Now, Peggy, what's your secret?
Teaser.
I don't have one.
You said you had one.
I'll share with you what I know.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right. We're going to be celebrating our 15th anniversary.
Yes.
Okay. And it's going to be on
At an
November the
undisclosed
17th.
location, right?
It's a mystery, guys.
It's a mystery. I
Yes.
thought we were going to get her to
Yes.
tell. Are you going to
I'm
tell?
on the committee, so
I am as well.
I'm
If
here
I
to
tell, then they can go back and tell.
Oh.
She cannot
She
tell.
cannot.
That is
Ah,
So now the
see,
secret has to stay a secret. Yeah,
yeah, see, that's like my secret. So I have to come to hear the secret, though, to find
There
out
you
where
are.
it's going to be.
What I
Look.
understand is when you make your first payment
Right.
towards the event, you get a hint.
Get a clue.
You get a
You
clue.
get a clue.
So this is what you used to call that when you call it scavenger hunt or something like
Yes.
that. Okay, all right. So
And
I'm in.
I haven't talked to the main ladies in who's putting this all together, so I'll say this: the person who wins, who gets all the clues, I'll give them their ticket free. To the gala.
Oh. No, you'll give them a ticket.
I
'cause
said
ticket.
one.
And how much
Yeah.
are these tickets?
But they got to buy theirs because
Oh,
that's
they
the
have to
only
buy
way
it.
to get the
have
clue.
Yeah, they have to buy
Right.
it to get the
Have to be
clue.
clear.
Okay.
But what I'll do is, after it's all over with, then I'll give them back their money.
Oh, give them back their money.
It's a refund.
Or they'll get a ticket and bring
There
somebody.
you go.
And how much?
That's
are
what I
those
was
tickets,
saying.
Peggy?
I think
125.
$125.
the members get it for $100.
Correct.
Woohoo! I'm glad I remember. Look,
And the
my
brother-
studio husband.
And the brother
And the brothers get it for $100.
Woohoo! My studio husband.
I have a confession, not a
Okay.
confession.
Okay, yes.
Confession
Yes.
time.
You got that big jar of water. That's one thing. I'm sorry, Miss Peggy. Will you finish telling us some?
No,
telling
no,
us about
that's-
that
that's-
wonderful thing?
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Check
That's all
one.
Wait till you get the main girls in here to tell you.
Yes.
They won't even tell me, other than I know where the place is, though. I do know that. And it's going to blow y'all guys away.
It's gonna blow them away.
It's-
Hi, everyone.
Hey, studio husband.
Can you?
Hey, studio husband. So I got to know. My studio husband have a secret and a confession.
No, I have a confession, not a secret.
Okay.
All right, so my
You know
confession.
confessions are secrets. So you can figure it out. Okay.
So
What's
I've
your
had,
confession?
so I've had the pleasure of being around a lot of dynamic people in my lifetime.
Okay.
And most especially a lot of dynamic women in my family and beyond. And I just want to let you all know that I am. I'm confessing in front of everyone that I have met very, very few groups of women that are as dynamic as you guys are. Hey, y'all cut that out. I ain't cut it out. Stop. Before you ruin my reputation as a rock hard, you know, I can't let them know I'm a softie. Y'all cut that out now. So I say that because I get a chance to meet a lot of people. I get a chance to see a lot of different, hear a lot of different things, see a lot of different things just from this walk alone the last several years. And I sat back, and I'm going back to a reunion this week at Syracuse where I met a lot of dynamic sisters, and I look at what you guys are doing. I follow you on Facebook. I follow your posts. I follow your, I don't talk about it a lot, but I do pay attention. And I honestly, this nation and this world is going to benefit quite a bit from the spirit that you all bring to this thing. To life and to others. I've never seen a situation where so many different people come through a door, and they feel better about themselves, their lives, their circumstances, and they feel better about others as often as I've seen when people come through here. So I just want you to know it's a very, very special thing. And God hasn't given everyone on earth that particular gift, and that's something that he's given to you all. The hardest thing sometimes is to keep it together through the roller coaster, ups and downs, and the wiggles and the ins and outs. But I will tell you that as you keep it together and as you figure out a way to continue to work together and bring other people in your space the way that you have and keep the ones that you know are going to continue to plant seeds with you, there's some extraordinarily dynamic things that you all are doing, but even more so the things that you're going to do. And I enjoy being a part of it. I'm proud to tell people that I am associated with it to whatever extent I am. And I just want to let you know, and keep going. I'm keep praying for you guys, and keep going. I've observed you socially, politically, professionally, etc. And you all are in season and out of season. You are in season and out of season, consistent, and that takes a lot.
It does.
That takes a lot. So I just want to tell you, man, it's you know. Word to the wise.
That means so much. That's the way to end on a high note like that, right?
Yes, thank you so much.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
We love him. That's why he's my studio husband. So, real soon, the other part of that secret, y'all going to get a chance to see our T-shirts that are getting made up. It's been coming from a slow boat from China, but it's going to finally arrive and make it here.
I'll be a 2XL by the time you
So, we got to get our T-shirts made up. I'm his studio wife, and that's my studio husband. But, Peggy,
Roland,
the time has come. We have to close out now. So, any last words from our president?
Well, all I can say, Roland, I thank you. That means so much to us because it takes a team. It's not one person who pulls this together. It's about working for the vision and for the dream. And to hear a brother tell us, it makes a difference. And I applaud you and I thank you. And I think we might have to put you on our board. Mm-hmm. Really?
But Ms.
Really?
Peggy, it's easy for, as one of the newest member of Sisters for Sisters Network, Inc., to be as positive and as loving to one another because we follow such a loving heart. And, it's easy to love one another if that's the example that's being given, to us.
Well, you know what? Earlier we were talking about my relationship with my mom and dad. Despite what my father went through, he loved his family. Mm-hmm. He loved my mother, and he loved his kids. So I know for a fact it was mental illness that he was dealing with, okay? And despite whatever he did and how he did it, that penetrated from him to me. And so what I have, I give it out to y'all guys.
It shows.
It does show.
It does. And it's very much
every
felt.
day.
We thank you.
I love y'all guys.
We honor you every day in our walks and the things that we do. We speak about you everywhere we go.
Everywhere we go.
I feel it.
Oh, terrible too sometimes. Terrible. You say that Miss Peggy, she's too much.
But we really a family. We fight.
We do.
We disagree, but at the end of the day,
we love you.
We love it. We love
each other. We love on each other. It's just a great organization.
Well, like I said, this is only the beginning, and we're about to make some things happen. We're ready to rock and roll.
Let's do it.
Yes. I'm
so
excited.
On that note, Karen.
Thank you, Miss Karen.
I love you, girl. Give me my 5.
Yes. And and I was just pulling it up, and we always end in prayer, but I'm going to end in this scripture, and that's what I was doing. I was pulling up because we open in prayer and end in prayer, but we've been talking about vision. Us, the ladies here, and Angela, she started off with vision. So I went and found the scripture that she was talking about, and that's Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, the people will perish, but he that keeps the law, happy is he. So that means, you know what that means, that God give us all purpose, and he put a vision and purpose in our heart. And as long as you continue to do his work and fulfill his work, he put joy and happiness in you to share with others when you complete your mission that he give you, and that's your vision. So thank you, ladies.
Thank you
for
having
studio
us.
husband.
Thank you, studio
and on
husband.
that note, we are we're safe until next Saturday, right? So see you at the same time, same back channel. We got the president in the building. You are listening to 4 Sister Live Talk, and it's been a pleasure. Yes. Thank you. God bless.
Love you.
To reality, to life, to reality.
So y'all know what all this water drinking.